The energy industry is experiencing a data wave, the majority of which is time series. Given the fragmented system landscape, it's essential to establish data hubs as quickly as possible. Let's talk about how to create an excellent energy data hub and how time series platforms provide a solid foundation for a variety of digital energy services. Hello, and thank you for being with us in this HAKOM webinar. I'm Stefan Komornyik, co-founder and managing partner at HAKOM Time Series. But housekeeping first. All our webinars are recorded and uploaded to our YouTube channel. You will receive a direct link along with a follow-up email a few days later. We just released some new videos, so check out our YouTube channel for more in-depth information on time series. For updates, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We recently discussed connectivity, and the topic for today is the ideal follow-up. How do you create an effective data hub in an ecosystem that faces an ever-increasing data stream? The answer is straightforward. Use purpose-built platforms. Platforms offer more than just scalable performance, databases and APIs for a development environment. They provide an ecosystem of legally autonomous organizations that collaborate to achieve not only their individual goals, but also achieve a common purpose. In the case of a time series platform for the energy space, the collective purpose is to support digital energy solutions. Platforms, therefore, help to choose the right partners to build these energy services. Why is that important? In a recent software selection survey, Capterra asked nearly 350 German decision makers about their software purchases for 2023. Which purchases did they regret, and what impact did this have? Astonishingly, nearly 6 out of 10 respondents said that they regretted their decision. And more than 50% of respondents stated that the financial loss significantly impacted long-term business success. The most commonly mentioned explanations were that the provider had made unrealistic promises and that the software was not as advanced as expected. Therefore, well-managed platforms will give you confidence in choosing the right partner to provide the value promised. Adding value is our mission. Thus today we will talk about where to begin when deciding on the best system architecture for an unparalleled energy data hub, what defines a suitable solution partner, and how platforms can create the best possible ecosystem for making the right decisions. With us is Martin Demker, Head of Trading Systems at Stadtwerke Munich. Stadtwerke Munich is one of Europe's largest city utilities. They keep Munich going 24/7. Martin and his team work at the heart of the organization, overseeing the data flow in their trading division. He will talk about their experience developing the most appropriate data hub in the incredibly dynamic and complex world of energy trading. Daniel Shatkin is Head of Delivery at Cloudflight, a leading European IT services and digital innovation company also based in Munich, Germany. Cloudflight, whose predecessor was founded back in 2008, has rapidly expanded to over 1,000 employees across multiple European countries and completed over 2,000 digital projects. Cloudflight is a HAKOM Time Series partner offering PowerTSM-based digital services through the PowerTSM store. Daniel's team is in charge of developing and delivering digital solutions for their clients, allowing them to focus on their primary business. Sharing his experience, he will explain how to create integrated and cost-effective solutions while mitigating the risks involved in choosing the appropriate strategy. So, let's meet the panelists and let the show begin. Hello again, once more, welcome to our HAKOM webinar here from Vienna. Hi Martin in Munich.
Hi.
And Daniel here, also in Vienna.
Hello.
Thanks for being here today. Hi. And of course, thank you all for joining us. Before we get started, let me remind you, please ask questions during the webinar. We will have a Q&A session as usual at the end, and we will try to answer everything you drop in, so don't hesitate. Today's topic was actually introduced by one of our customers. They said, can we use PowerTSM to create an energy data hub? We tried to understand what's behind this question, and we quickly realized that it's about establishing connectivity and offering a platform that provides a single source of truth for time series across teams and even organizations. But of course, it's not only time series data. Talking about volumes, the main share of data involved in energy consists of time series, so that certainly needs your attention. To set up something like this, you need some ingredients. You need a vision, a lot of know-how, partners, and of course, technologies. In my intro, I talked about how difficult software purchases are and what massive and very often negative impact any decision may have. Martin, when you started, I think it was about 3 years ago, you certainly had a vision and a lot of know-how, and you're heading the trading systems. What were the challenges you were facing, and how did you tackle them?
Yeah, thank you. So, as you mentioned in your introduction, that energy trading is depending on a lot of different processes. And no need to name them all, but the key takeaway is that all of these processes have at the core time series. And if we go one step further, the other key takeaway is that basically all of these processes are linked to each other, basically in a big web where the data needs to flow from every process into almost any other process. If you click on the slide, please.
Like
Yeah.
this.
So it's a very challenging environment to build a good IT landscape. And go to the next slide, please. We had a few considerations when building our IT landscape. So it was clear from the beginning that there is not going to be one system that can handle all our business requirements. It would make my job easier if there would be, but it's pretty clear that there's multiple systems needed. Then many of our requirements are very specific to our business. That means that some parts of custom development is going to be necessary, especially the integration between the systems. And also the market and regulatory environment keeps changing constantly. So basically there's never been a year where we did exactly the same as last year. Every year is different. And so we need the ability to adapt to changes. So we decided on an approach for our IT landscape to have a small number of core systems that we buy off the shelf from software vendors, and each system focuses on their core competencies. And since there is some additional development necessary for our requirements, we decided for us it makes sense to do that development in-house because we are large enough and also we are going to do this for the foreseeable future. So it makes sense to have some in-house development know-how. And especially considering the orchestration and integration layer between those core systems, this is something that only we can do that nobody else could do for us. So this is where we and my team focuses their attention. If we go to the next slide, please. So when we are deciding for one of those core systems that we want to buy off the shelf, we have 3 things that we are looking for mainly. The system should do one thing and should do that extremely well. It should provide APIs to all the functionalities that the system offers, and those APIs need to be performant and they need to be well documented and provide nice error messages and everything that a developer expects today. And the software should be cloud native. That means not just be a lift and shift of some on-premise machine, move to a virtual machine in Azure. We want to use all the advantages that the cloud can offer, like native scaling and only paying for what you actually need. So a few years ago, if we click to the next slide, please, we needed to replace one of our core systems. That system combined basically the functionalities of a time series database, of master data management, and workflow orchestration. And it had been working well for us, but was over 10 years old and needed to be replaced because the technology was getting outdated. So at that point, we were looking at the market for a new time series platform, and we found many solutions that are primarily ETMR systems or scheduling systems with time series functionality added on. I mentioned earlier that basically all of those business processes require time series at the heart. So every system needs to understand time series in some regards. And that's why it's natural for some software vendors who have some kind of process system, that they also basically expose the time series functionality as an additional add-on. But that means that the time series functionality is not business process neutral. It's basically biased towards whatever the system which is exposing it is going to do. For example, being a scheduling system. So that is actually something that I did not like as much, because then the time series is always somehow interlinked with the scheduling, and it makes it more difficult than it has to be. What we also noticed when we did our tender was that many systems are still not cloud native. Most of them are actually lift and shift approaches. And most of them also only provide basic APIs and not really modern REST APIs like we would expect. So after a lengthy process, it turned out that HAKOM PowerTSM was basically the only system that could completely fulfill our requirements, as I laid out earlier. And that's why we, more than a year ago, decided to buy PowerTSM or contract PowerTSM. And since then have been in a migration phase where we basically migrate all the processes that were built on top of the old system to use PowerTSM. And that process is scheduled to be finished by end of year. And most of the critical production workloads are already migrated over to PowerTSM right now. And so far it's been a success, and PowerTSM also enabled some new stuff that we did not expect at the beginning, like sharing our data outside of our organization. That was one of the added bonuses, having a cloud system like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Hope for many more bonuses to come and features to come that you need. Thanks for your insights and also the outlook. You mentioned that yourself. You and your team certainly knows what it needs to set up an excellent energy data hub. You're capable of doing that and doing a lot of the integration work yourselves, but I know that there are companies out there, energy companies out there, that may not have a team like this and the capacity that is needed. And for those, I think it's important to have solution and integration partners, companies like Cloudflight. And therefore, I invited Daniel today. He heads the delivery at Cloudflight, one of our partners offering PowerTSM-based digital services. And Daniel, please share your thoughts now on why Cloudflight makes an excellent partner.
Thank you. Hello. Daniel here. Thank you for having me, also in Vienna. And so Cloudflight was already introduced very good in the intro video, so we can we can already go to the important topics. And so basically what we do as a company is we assist our customers in the digitalization of the processes to support the business. And here here it was already, in Martin's case, it was really very interesting, because you already had a strategy and you said that you're going to take off the shelf knew, okay, this was not enough because your business is very special, and also there is no other Stadtwerke München, and this is usually also the case with our customers. And what we also made our fair share of errors and lessons, because now we concentrate very much on topics like strategy and also purpose of products and applications. But like back in the days, we got the assignments to write the software, and then it was technically state of the art and it was perfectly fine, but then in the end no one used it, and even though the project maybe was in time and budget, then ultimately it failed. And so we built up a lot of UX capabilities and business analysis capabilities, and to take this risk out of the project and to talk in the beginning very much about the strategy, about expectations, what we want to change and what we want to achieve. And also very important, always when you create a product, it's even more important to not to see what you're doing, but also what won't you be doing, what are you parking maybe for later on the roadmap. Then also very important, exploring the solution space together with users who will then also use it. And what's also very important always to think about the change management, because in the end someone will then use your data hub or your applications, and it's so the people that you are creating the solution with in a partnership, then they are the best ambassadors for the rollout phase to actually use the tool. Because creating software, especially such big software, important strategic software, always means change. And this is why we also, so click, please. Yes, this is why at the beginning of every partnership, we do a discovery phase, which usually takes 1 to 2 months, where we talk about the business problem and the state that we want to achieve, about the look and feel, and also about the features of the software. And then, of course, when everything is understood, then of course we also pitch technical architecture and the frameworks and tools that we're going to use. And we think it's our experience that it's the expectation management and being aligned is one of the most important things at the beginning of a project. Everything's fine, Stefan. I'm not reading the slides anyway.
There was a timer, sorry.
But next, please. And here you can see a glimpse of the technologies and products that we're using, because we are coders by heart and we're often used to build everything from scratch. But we also then, and here you also see we are not a company that's basically having one product where we try to resell licenses, but we want to get the right technology to your business, to the business problem that you use. And usually, I think that's also a very important part, is that usually you want then, so maybe you need help for the implementation, integration, but long term, maybe your team will maintain the solution. And this is also why we are working very much in mixed teams together with our customer. And therefore the pick of the technologies and the frameworks that we're using always then has to be with the IT team of the customer, because in the end the customer, you will then actually then maintain it and develop further. So we see us as a catalyst or Kickstarter in the beginning. And for since we're talking today about energy data hubs, of course, when you use an already proven platform, like for example HAKOM, so maybe next slide, and this can really this will reduce a lot of risks and also will have a lot of benefits. I think one of the most important ones is that you can then really focus on the specifics of your business, because in the energy market, when you already saw, okay, this is a time series use case, which is very often the case when you talk about energy data, then there are some common determinators, and you can just use this expert platform and then build upon it the specifics of your business, and you don't start with zero. And also very important, I think, you don't start with zero. This means you're going to be a lot faster. So time to market is very important. There are also so many changes. And it will also make it much easier for you when you only have to maintain or change one specific the logic that is tied to your specific business and not the whole big solution. And also we need to think about the total cost of ownership, because also someone will need then to maintain it, and the less you code yourself, the less, when you have experts that are working on the core and updated and upgraded and there are so many regulatories that needs to be thought through and then implemented into the core. It's very good if you have experts that are doing this, and this is why we have very good experiences in not starting from scratch, but using a platform made by experts. And yes, maybe just next slide. So also Stefan said before, we are HAKOM partners, and you can also find us in the HAKOM store. And of course, you can always come in contact with me, but also you can reach us through the store. And yeah, thank you for having me, and back to you, Stefan.
Thank you, Daniel. When we designed PowerTSM, we had in mind that it's very important to be attractive for partners like Cloudflight. We think that it's one of the benefits of providing a platform. And we believe that investing in, we call it purpose-built platforms that will massively improve long-term software investments, generally spoken. And having this as a platform, as a service, will even boost those benefits. So now I would like to sum up the features and the benefits that we see. We see the relevant features are there's development tools, so ways to store the data, APIs, storages, etc., and the documentation that you need that Martin emphasized. Deployment is facilitated to make it easier to organize dev, test, and production environments, for example. Then obviously computing power and storage should be elastically scaled according to the needs and ideally even automatically. And the hosting obviously is done by the vendor. And the benefits coming from that for partners are, you both talked about that, time to market is key. Developers will focus on writing the specific code. They don't need to take care about the infrastructure. And if we think of, again, time series, the way to store the data and how to retrieve it, and to do that real fast, that can be a real hot topic. So cost effectiveness, pay as you go. Martin mentioned that. This means that you do not need to pay for storage and compute power that you do not use. And we think and have seen that, especially in ramp-up phases, that can make a real big difference. And you can easily collaborate with your teammates or your integration partners, as you can share the dev environments and also the data. Martin also mentioned that you can share the data with others quite easily. And very important, integration with other services and APIs can be done quite straightforward. So I've summed up that. And before we get to your questions, there's a short call to action, which is all about connectivity and integration. Vera, please show us the video.
We've seen that platforms make the difference. The gateway to the PowerTSM platform is our new PowerTSM store, the easiest way to get access to services, connectors and our academy, with apps coming soon. Each item represents an added value for PowerTSM users. Connectors let you use your PowerTSM time series in other applications as easy as ABC. Services offer time series content provided by useful platforms. Cognify's Datadanke, for example, offers time series provided by the N2E transparency platform or data sources that TSOs like Austrian Power Grid or 50Hz provide. Services also include forecasts of generation or consumption, like PV forecasts by our partner Ifesca. And finally, PowerTSM partners like Cloudflight or Cognify offer services that help you create your PowerTSM solution as fast as possible. Academy delivers useful information and training material like POV programs, special use case support or solution architecture programs. Simply click on the store button and filter what you're interested in. If you want more details, you can have a look at the pricing and contact the vendor to find out more. If you are a service provider and want to publish your service in our store, just contact us. Interested in our connectivity program? We will get you sorted in no time. Reach out to us at sales@hakom.at or directly on LinkedIn. Or of course, right now, because it's time for Q&A. So, once again, back to you, Stefan.
Once again, thank you to my digital twin. And now we're back for the Q&A session. Thomas, please come out of the back. Our co-founder and product manager joins us for the technical questions. Hi, Thomas.
Good that you're here because I've seen some technical questions, some tough ones, so I will forward them to you. Just for your information, after the official part of the webinar, please still stay tuned if you have some time. We'll be answering questions for some more 10 to 15 minutes or now. So let's now start with the Q&A. Martin has chosen already a question. Where do you see the limit of doing in-house software developments at Stadtwerke München? Is the focus more on system integration with your software vendors? Context of the question, I've often seen big energy utility providers first attempting in-house development, but then in the end they need to, in any case, outsource the development. Martin?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, and one that you need to think about long and hard. And to be honest, I think many people in corporate structures will understand if I say it would be much easier for me to spend 150K to buy some kind of software solution than to hire one additional person. So if there's anything that I can outsource or can buy that fulfills my requirement, that would always be my first preference. But reality shows that if you work in an environment with very complex business requirement, where a lot of specialized knowledge is needed to build the software, it often takes a long time to onboard new developers or onboard outsourcing partners. And during this onboarding phase, you're basically not productive at all. And in our case, since we know we need to do development not only this year, but for the foreseeable future, for the next 10 years, it makes sense to have this capacity in-house. And for us, I think it's a major success because the developers in my team might not be the best developers in the world, but they know our business requirements very well. And therefore we can implement features very quickly. And I would say much more quickly than I have seen in my past career.
I think that wraps it up, Martin. Thank you very much. There's quite a bunch of other questions you already chose. If okay, I would go for the next. Why did you not want lift and shift tech? Why is it so important to have cloud native?
Yeah, so doing cloud native provides a few advantages that both you and me already talked about. But using the cloud basically as a rented cellar where I put my servers is obviously more expensive than I put the servers into my own cellar. So it can only be cost effective to be in the cloud if you use the opportunities that the cloud provides. If you just move your servers to Microsoft, it's going to be more expensive because Microsoft wants to earn a cut.
Yes, I may add as a vendor, or speaking for a vendor, that we are able to pool the sources and resources, and this gives another room for optimization, which you would not have if you just simply lift and shift your single clients environments. Maybe one for Thomas. How are your experiences using databricks in combination of more traditional SQL databases for master data? Thomas, would you like to set a statement?
Yes, sure. As our focus is the time series data and not the master data, we are closely working together with different technologies that deal with master data. So the best, in our view, is to get the master data technology that's best for your purposes. It may be whatever fits your needs, and then find a technology that's perfect for the time series data. As our technology is purpose-built, it's all about dealing with time series data and not dealing about master data. There's some possibilities to use attributes, generic attributes, to get the information that's needed at the time series from the master data to the time series for aggregation purposes, for example, or anything else. But we try to keep it quite clean from the master data problematic.
Thank you, Thomas. Martin, may I give you another question? Can you talk about the other systems that you use, BI reporting, ETRM for example?
Sure. So as I showed earlier in the spider web of the different systems, we do have a few software vendors. One, for example, our ETRM system is by PSI Energy Market. Our scheduling system is from Volio, for example, right now. And regarding BI and reporting, that is something that we build ourselves, basically using Python and Plotly Dash. So we're not using a ready-made BI solution for that.
Thank you. Next one. How about housekeeping? How do you prevent from storages to ever increasing?
Yeah, that's a good question. So during our migration phase right now, we designed a model where every time series basically has a lifetime. It has an attribute of how long the data is going to be needed. And we have implemented a job basically that daily goes through all the time series that have reached the end of the lifetime and starts either cutting off data or cutting off quotation timestamps.
Cool. Thank you. Another one. Do you think, from Irina, do you think that AI can facilitate connectivity and reduce efforts for building interfaces?
I would hope that will happen in the next few years. Right now, we're obviously using Copilot and the AI coding tools, and it can really help, like providing those coding tools with the API schema. You can tell them, okay, now build me some client functionality. It really works, but it still requires a lot of manual effort also to oversee what the AI is doing. So it's not completely automatic. But I think in the next few years, it's going to be probably more automatic than it's right now.
Thomas, maybe you want to add something from our side, or obviously also.
Yeah, and one point, it's always during basically development of the system themselves, if you write the program, but having the AI, like the large language model running as part of the interface, I think that is not going to be cost productive. So,
yes, from our side, we see a big difference in interfaces that has to be done just once for your for one customer purpose, and then you're not very experienced in that. So there the AI helps a lot to get this up and running. But if it's an interface that's a part of the product, then it's much more efficient to plan this traditional via product planning and design the architecture, than just let the AI decide what to do.
There's a very interesting question. I would like to start with an answer before I would then ask Martin to add, if possible. Martin, how do you think you compare to what other Stadtwerke are doing in Germany? Is this strategy becoming more popular, or are you one of the few? I would like to start with some of the thoughts that we shared right before in our slides. I think obviously not any Stadtwerke will have a capacity that high and a team that experienced, but there are partners out there like Daniel and Cloudflight that can help out. So I think even if that is not given, you could go down that road. But Martin, maybe you want to share some more to that?
Yeah, so I think since we are one of the larger ones in Germany, there are probably not many who could directly compare. And even looking at how the different Stadtwerke are organized, as I mentioned earlier, everyone is in some aspects unique. So you will probably find no one who does it exactly like another one does it. So I think we are in a minority, but from contacts I have, I know that there are a few others who do software development themselves and who also do especially the integration works themselves.
Give them my telephone number, please. I think we are a bit over time now already, but there are some open questions. So I would like to invite you to still stay tuned, but we will stop here with the official part of our webinar. If you have time, stay in for another 10 or 15 minutes after the outro. We will send you a short email right now. There'll be a link to a LinkedIn post where you can continue asking your questions. We'd like to have you joining some discussions and stay in touch with us. And for those who do not stay, we have to say goodbye to. Have a good time, stay tuned to us,
and subscribe to our next webinar we planned for the end of the year on incentives for energy efficiency. And finally, do not forget, life is a time series. So back again, still some questions. How do you scale the service elastically? That's one for Thomas, I think.
Yes, as the service consists of a data store, that's a database, and on the other hand, the service, we have two options of scaling. On the one hand, we can scale on demand the database up and down, and on the other hand, the service is scaled out depending on the needs. So that's fully automated in the cloud and is done as needed there.
Perfect. Another one, Martin, would you like to share some thoughts on how many time series you managed? Do you know approximately? Can you give us an idea or a clue?
A few 100,000.
A few 100,000.
Yeah, I know there's one repository is about 250,000, but yeah, we have a few. So yeah, quite a lot. And obviously this is done through automatic processes.
Cool. And I think any kind of increment will be there. Okay. How do you manage the dev process, dev test and prod environments? I guess using maybe repos and different tenants, but Martin?
Yeah. For us, we use we have two tenants in the cloud that we can use for dev and prod deployments. From our side, it's very easy. Basically, it's a different endpoint.
I think, but as we provide different tenants and different repos in the tenants, I think it's quite easy to organize that. And also, we also are working on facilitating this even more for migration between those different stages. So this will also be supported even more in the future. Yes, you described an interplay between systems and processes. How do you monitor this interplay, Martin?
Yeah, so we have a few different monitoring solutions. So basically, we're using Grafana and Victoria metrics and Loki behind, and we're collecting the metrics in all of our middleware solutions that we buy ourselves, but we also that we build ourselves. But we have also built some basically monitoring agents that keep track of everything, and we have great visibility in what the systems are doing and the processes are doing.
Thank you. Very interesting question again. What was your biggest pain before switching systems?
Before, yeah, so the technology that the old software platform was using was heavily based on Excel, and that was the right technology decision to make 12 years ago. But right now, nobody wants to write Excel Visual Basic macros anymore, and it's also not very efficient and performant. So it was clear for us that we want to have a solution where we can write our business processes with Python ourselves, and that's why we're mainly switching. Also, the other solution, it was not performant, but also had some stability problems that come with trying to automate Excel process at a large scale.
That would be a point when I'd like to ask Daniel. Is this some common situation that this is one of the biggest pains that you see?
You mean Excel?
Yeah, so something like this.
Yeah. It's I said Excel on purpose because that's usually the case when you go to. For us, it's always very important to also understand how the current process is, and usually the people that are working there, they are not happy with the tools, and there's always an Excel, a glorified Excel, and then our job is basically to understand how did it come to this, and our job is to make something better than this glorified Excel. This is not maintainable and really inefficient and super dangerous, but everyone can do something with Excel, so it's like super powerful. But it's also very dangerous, and when you talk about so many time series and so much data, this can't really work for a longer time. And this is usually you find some Excels where you think, okay, I wish I didn't see that before.
I recently heard that there still are some access databases out there.
Yeah, there are.
That's the second driver. Okay, then we have one last question. What types of data can be stored in PowerTSM? Thomas, what do we do here?
Yes, as I mentioned before, our focus is on the time series data, but we also have not only the option to store numeric values in time series, but also some other generic objects that can be stored as a time series. So that starts with tuples or triples of numeric values, but can up to strings or any other data that's important to be stored on a time axis.
Okay, super. So thanks. Then I think we managed to answer all of the questions. Thank you very much for staying so long. Let's now finish. See you soon. And once again, do not forget, life is a time series. Bye-bye. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.